Today we're lucky enough to be joined by Danny Overton from In-Depth Locations, all the way from Adelaide in South Australia. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. How are you? It's good to be up here.
Yeah, going good,
Yeah, good.
mate. So we'll paint a bit of a picture. We've already done this podcast about a couple of months ago. We got halfway through editing the whole thing, and we lost audio about halfway through. So a few things have happened since then, anyway. So it's gonna be a bit better of a
Dive into all that.
We'll do a bit more and talk about a few new systems that you've introduced and we'll at least been a part of. We'll go from there.
Sounds good. Yeah, looking forward to doing a podcast 2.0.
How good. So, how long have you been in the utility locating industry?
11 years, coming on 12 years this year. 11 years in total. So I've been stomping the pavement for quite some time now.
And how did you get into it?
I just fell into it. I was at a civil company, didn't enjoy getting dirty and muddy, and they offered a few different tickets in certain fields of their industry, and it didn't interest me. And they offered me locating. I was told you'd get a car and a phone, so that was sold it for me, mate.
So, what are some of the services that In-Depth Locations offer?
Just predominantly utility locating. I do use subcontractors for potholing, and GPR work. So keep it pretty basic. I went to go down the mapping route, but for the market in Adelaide, for what I do, it's not viable. So, and again, my clients reports, they're heavy on reports, which is fine. And this is why I want to get something going that streamlines that report system, which eliminates time at home or time behind the computer. If I can have a report done and dusted before I leave site onto the next job or heading home, then I'm all for it.
And can you share some of the challenges that you might find specific to, say, South Australia or Adelaide in itself, within the utility industry, that is?
The everyday, just gas, locating gas. In Adelaide, there's bugger all trace wire. It's unless we've got cathodic protection, or GPR's working well, pending soil condition, definitely just locating gas is our biggest challenge.
And are there any significant projects happening in South Australia at the moment that are you involved in anything that's of some significance?
We've got a big project, T2D, so Torrens to Darlington project. They're putting an underground tunnel to link up to make Main South Road a lot more, cruisier, because it's probably our major road running through north to south. I'm not involved, being a smaller company. I pick up the crumbs and I gain new clients where bigger companies are specifically focused on these projects. They're dying to get on there, which is great because they can't service their other clients. Therefore, the other clients find new locators. And so I work on the outskirts of these projects.
And most recently, before you dig Australia, have changed the way we receive plans. I know we can still revert back to the old way, but have these changes had any impact to your business?
They have in some respects. Sometimes they come through pretty quick, which is fine. But, sometimes you can get a call out for a job. So you're ordering dials, you're waiting for them to come through. I'll be laying in bed and then I'll get an email. All asset owners have been verified, have come through. It's a bit slower. There's a few extra clicks to get through. But look, I like downloading as one PDF. I like that format. If it could just be streamlined a bit better, it would be great. But it's new, so I guess there's teething problems, but it just needs to be a bit more quicker.
Utility locating can often take you to some pretty unique locations. Can you share a place that you've worked in the industry before that's something a little bit different?
Yeah, it takes you to some rural towns, which you wouldn't normally visit, but definitely New Zealand. I was lucky enough to fly over there for 2 weeks of work, and that was a lot different service-wise. Definitely throws you out of your comfort zone, but it was it was a different experience. It was good to be amongst it. And then the way their water on this certain job, I'm not sure if it's all the way around New Zealand, but there was a water main back of curb. Then they would have a branch from that to another water main just before the boundary, and then a tee off from that main to the house service.
Right,
So
like a little sub main. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, right.
then in the middle of that, you got your high voltage, low voltage. They had Vodafone fiber through there, and it was looked like a rainbow when we walked off site. And the client's just telling us, "All good, we're used to this, mate. We'll dig on top of the high voltage. No worries. Sign here. Catch you later."
I'm pretty sure in New Zealand you can't open a lot of their comms pits because they're all locked by the asset owner. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, that was true. That's what I said. What do we do here? So the company I was there with, he said, we just got a GPR. We don't have, unless they have keys available or someone's coming pre-organized to come to site to open these pits, we're buggered. We just got a GPR. We can't find it. Then it's QLD.
And what's it like using the GPR over there?
Oh, I can't really remember. I remember one area we were close to the beach, and that was more roadworks, and it worked relatively well because there was breaks within the stormwater. So we located everything EMI, which was fine crossing the road. To locate the stormwater, we did use GPR, IDS GPR, and it worked fine.
So we're here on the Gold Coast for the 20th anniversary for NULCA. And one of the discussions that we had yesterday was around quality levels and who thought what changes that could be made. And I reckon most of the room thinks that we need changes. There's a few people, I think, dinosaurs stuck in their old ways, but yeah, I think we need to make changes.
Yeah.
And from what I've learned, it's not going to be a cheap solution, or it's not going to be cheap to make changes. But I don't think that should sort of stop us.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there definitely needs to be some changes. And like you said, there's respectfully a few dinosaurs still in the room. Chucking a G in there for a
Yeah.
ground penetrating radar would be great. There needs to be more awareness around the quality levels. That I'm still speaking to clients now, sending emails with the quality levels and breaking it down for them. And they've raised other clients that have raised a few questions at what could be potentially added in or removed. So I definitely think there needs to be changes, regardless of the cost. We want to see the industry moving forward. So spending money to make changes for the better, I don't see an issue with it.
In the last episode, we had Jason from SmartScan, and he made a good one, a good point in regards to a quality level S for SON, because he trusts the SON and he uses the SON, and I think that's something we could use. I mean, like, it's if you identify how something is located, how is that a bad thing?
That's very well said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
understand how that is a bad thing.
No,
If
it's
you know
giving more clarity as
exactly,
to what we're doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're clearing things up,
Yep.
saying this is how it was located. You can still have the tolerance levels and whatnot underneath it, and they're smarter people will probably come up with a better understanding of how it's sort of worded. But what's the problem with letting your client know how something was located?
Correct. The more information we give the client, the better.
Absolutely.
Whether or not it makes sense to that client, but if we can put quality levels in there in a report or whatever we're producing for the client that shows what we've done, how we've done it, and a quality level, they can look at it and be like, cool, QLA, they've located pothole, visually seen, that's great. QLS, SOND, great. They located that optic fiber bloody bore shot using SOND, excellent. So the more information, the better.
Yeah, I just think it's something we're going to have to eventually move forward with and move with the times and update these things. But I think from what Ian was saying, it was going to be last time they changed things was around $100,000. So it's a significant cost, but I think it's something that our industry needs if we want to keep moving forward. So Jeff Moore spoke this morning to the room about his training and what they deliver. He mentioned about Cert 3s. So I think he would love to see an apprenticeship or a traineeship based education brought into our into our industry. What are your thoughts on his comments this morning?
I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea. Get asked quite a lot. How do you get in? How do you get into the industry? Question from yourself. How did you get into the industry? And for young people wanting to learn, or anyone wanting to learn, we haven't got much advice to give them. Oh, jump online, have a look at this. I think it's a great idea. I definitely think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And it keeps us progressing forward, and creating that awareness of the industry and what we do with the right training. We want all momentum moving forward. So there's no such thing as bad training.
What advice would you give a young individual that's looking to join the utility locating industry?
I'd say jump online, have a look at Before You Dig page, have a look at the certification page, do some research in your state around your area as to companies offering utility locating. Make sure they're a CLO and they've got good structure. Speak to them, let them know you're eager to learn, and that's the best bet to get in the industry. Best way. There's lots to learn, and working with you join a company and there's a few locators in that company. It's great. You can bounce around and learn a lot from these people.
So more recently, you've just opened a sub business, Concrete Focus. So that primarily focuses on the concrete scanning. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So in-depth locations, we solely focus on utility locating. Saw a gap in the market in South Australia. In Adelaide, there's concrete cutting, coring businesses offering concrete scanning. No one really specifically focusing on it, hence the name Concrete Focus. So since starting up, it's like starting from scratch, I guess. Going out, networking, building up my clientele base, showing them what we can do, the reporting side, and just it's going well.
And on the back of that, you've got a little side hustle going on with Safe Core Systems. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was there's with like anything, you want to see things progress. Same as the locating industry with concrete scanning, it's you're using your straight edge, your chalk, your duct tape, whatnot. I stumbled across Aiden from Southeast Scanning. He had some Safe Core site markings he did using their stencil system, and I was blown away. Like it looks so professional.
Yeah.
So I contacted Aiden and he gave me a call the next day, right before I flew up to do the podcast with yourself. And we had a bit of a chat. And since then, I've been speaking to Aiden from Southeast Scanning, but also Jim Butler, the owner over in America, and bought some stencils and have not looked back since. Since using the stencils, clients are blown away. We've got the stencil system as well as a tape system, which eliminates using duct tape, masking tape, and handwriting what's there.
Mm-hmm.
This tape specifically says GPR target, Rio, top of pan deck, bottom of pan deck, GPR target, whatever. But it's not just that. They've got a core focus on safety. So I don't know if you've rolled up on site or your team's rolled up on site, you've done a scan, then 2 weeks later, a week later, you get a call, wow, we hit bloody post tension cable. You start to shit yourself. Fuck, what have we done wrong? You go have a look and it's outside of your scan zone. They've got stencils that delineate and mark your exact zone of work. With each job, you have an individual QR code, end of the job. So you take a photo. So you open up the app, fill in your report system, put the QR code down, scan the barcode to that job, and we could be working in this hotel room doing 10 different scans. So each one of those scans will have its own barcode.
Yep.
And its own instant report. So you would ask when, the client will ask, when will we get the report? Check your inbox, mate. You have a report before we've packed up the tools and we're off site.
So with that QR system, does that have a report-based thing that on site you fill out, or is it something you can just put anything into it? How does that work?
It's got a report. So it's a URL. It's not an app. So
Right.
you jump on there and it's got I guess you'd say the template with your logo, and you fill in start time, finish time, client's name. You fill in all the details. It's got drop down menus as to if we use tape, is if we use the stencils, what we're scanning, what type of floor. You add as many notes as you like and as many photos as you like, and then it just generates this report. And that, you save your location. Then you've got the option to download PDF, send to client, or you can just send it straight to the client. And with the QR code, the barcode on the floor, the client can then go up, scan it, and we can allow them access to view their report, as many or as little times as they like.
That's what we
Huge.
need to be doing. Like, even if we could incorporate something like that into the utility sector, just to make our reports better, make things clearer for our clients.
100%. I said this as well. I did one of my first jobs. I did the report. I was like, right, all good. Like this, that, the other, right, and it was done. It was instant. And I sent to the client. And I moved on to the next section, and he's like, "Well, is this done?" I said, "Yeah, you've." And then he said about the report. I'm like, "Check your inbox." And I've learned that from Aiden, from Southeast Scanning. Check your inbox. It's just a game changer. I called him after one of the first jobs. I was like, "Mate, it works so well. The client's blown away. I've got, I think it was 4 or 5 sections to do within this nursing home." I was pumping out the reports, and it's progress. It feels like this safe core system is just elevating the GPR concrete scanning to the next level, and utility locating needs to catch up. Like
Yeah.
this safe core system is next level.
Mate, where do you see the industry in the next sort of 10 years?
Hopefully progressing in that way. Definitely some changes to the quality levels would be great. Some methods such as QR codes or whatever it may be, app-based reports, templates, just really want to see it progressing. And hopefully a lot more people understand what we do.
I think the technology is getting better, and I think we've got to trust that. We've got to move with the times. We've got to use the new technology. We've got to see. We've got to be open-minded, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and this is not a shot at anyone, specifically. I think a lot of the technology, a lot of the locating GPR companies bring on some younger guys. And it's nothing against the older guys. The younger guys can learn, but with everything, technology's taking over. We got to see more social media posts. We got to see more marketing, more videos showing what they do and how to do it. We don't want some boring old bloke talking about how to fucking use a GPR that drags on for 3.5 hours, and you could punch out that chat in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
More engagement as well. It needs to happen.
I was talking to Daniel Beach last night.
Yep.
Mate, he's just the GPR wizard, isn't he? He could talk for 10 hours about GPR, and I don't know anyone that can talk about GPR for 10 hours, but that bloke, I'm telling you, any questions, he'll be able to answer them for you.
He could tell you how to build one from
Yeah.
start to finish.
Yeah, he's good.
And
yeah.
I did the concrete scanning course with Locating Unlimited over in Sydney.
Yeah.
He was great. Jeff was there as well. They kept the class engaged and very knowledgeable. So yeah, and it was good. You walk away from it, you're not tired. You're not like, this was a drag. You walk out refreshed, pumped. All right, let's go scan some slabs.
That's how I felt. I did it. I was probably one of the first classes to do it. And I remember walking out there and I was like, couldn't wait to go do the next scan. Use some of that knowledge that I actually learnt with under Jeff and Daniel. Yeah.
It done wonders, to be honest. And I flew home and I was just their student notebook, just studying it, reading, because you take notes throughout the class, and it helped a lot, and it still does help.
Mate, are you a buybacks or a radio detection man?
Radio detection.
Yeah.
Yeah, through and through.
Yeah.
When I first started, I had an old ditch witch. Now it was like lugging around.
All right.
Far out, dude. I reckon that weighed about 17 kilos.
Yeah. Is that why you're so jacked? Is it?
100%. Oh, thanks. No, but RD, I love it. I find it very light, easy to use, very responsive, all the frequencies, everything you need. So I think I've just adapted to it. I love it.
I was actually talking to a few of the boys downstairs, and they reckon it's the Vive Access radio detection is a similar thing to the Apple and Samsung. So they reckon once you go Vivax, Vivax, however you want to say it. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to say it, but you never go back. And that was like me with once I rolled over to Samsung,
Yep.
I'll never go back to Apple.
The company I was at, Vac Group, they've no longer around, but we were lucky enough. We had a pipe horn in the car, we had an RD and a Vivax. Maybe it's a state thing, Vivax, Vivax. But we had all three in our car. So we had the option and we were encouraged to switch it up for numerous reasons. So you don't get comfortable using one thing, but me being me, just stuck to the RD. I would get the Vivax out now and then, but I found it slow and heavier to use. I think you're right though. Mine was opposite. I had Samsung,
Right.
and then I went to Apple and never looked back.
There you go.
There you go.
Mate, so at this event, NULCA directors have been encouraging for the next generation of directors to come through. What do you think stopping somebody, or sort of that next younger generation coming through? What is there any reason why you don't think people putting their hand up?
I reckon in fear of being shut down, not listened to, not heard, or not being accepted into certain aspects of the NULCA industry. Somewhat of a boys' club, I guess you'd say. It's not not being rude, but people get stuck in their ways, and I'm not having to dig again, but people do, and
Yeah.
there does need to be change, and you need to bring younger people and listen to what we're saying. Listen to what's happening in the industry, changes that are going to progress. It's like anything, same technology, all of it comes into play. So unless some of the board members at the moment, want to sit down and listen to the young up and comers, then there's not going to be much change anytime soon.
Yeah, I think you got to appreciate what's been done in the past,
Yep.
but I think at some point you got to pass the baton on, don't you?
Yeah, everything they've established, everything they've done.
Yeah.
What's this, the 20th anniversary we're here for now? Pass that baton down. Let's go. Or let's all sit down and listen to what people have to say, the younger generation. Then questions can be asked, questions can be answered, and we can establish it from there and progress forward.
Yeah, it's funny. You were saying earlier they're worried about being shut down. That's the feeling I get too, because there's a lot of people I've spoken to around the room, specifically the younger sort of generation, and I go, mate, jump on the podcast and come and say that. They're like, oh, nah, I better not. It's all good, nah, And I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah. So
they get a bit of a fear, I
yeah,
guess. You don't. Yeah, there's no fear and there's no harm in talking, speaking
yeah,
the truth, and it's not upsetting. I'm not having to dig at him, or him. It's just you just speaking the truth, and I'm passionate about the industry. I love what we do. I want to see it move forward. So these conversations, the hard questions and the answers need to be brought up.
what changes would you predominantly like to see NULCA change?
Progression. Listen.
Yeah,
For me, it comes back to progression. Listening to what people have to say, taking it on board. Everything changes in the way utilities are buried, the way they're located. Things always change. So there needs to be a lot more listening to create progression for us to keep moving forward. Otherwise, NULCA members are going to drop off.
yeah,
I know for a fact there's people that don't feel like they're getting bang for their buck.
no,
So,
mate. And finally, who would you like to see come on the podcast and share their thoughts?
Chris from SA Cable Locates, he's downstairs. I'll introduce you to him.
Yeah,
We'll drag him up here and
after
get
a
him
couple
on
of beers.
100%. Get him on the potty, spill the beans, and then Aiden from Southeast Scanning. he's a weapon, man.
Yeah.
He's a good bloke. He'll do well on here, and he's the guy to talk to in Australia to do with Safecore.
That's great. Okay. Well, mate, thanks for coming on. It's been a great little chat. I might raise a couple of eyebrows, but it is what it is, you know. Progress in the name of progress. Yeah, thanks for coming on, and let's go down and have a couple of beers.
Definitely, mate. Thanks for having me. Definitely keen on a few beers, and like I said, the hard questions are answered. So let's see where we go from there.
Easy. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.